Many years ago in Nara, Japan's ancient capital, there lived a wise and respected state minister named Prince Toyonari Fujiwara. His wife, Princess Murasaki, was a noblewoman known for her kindness and beauty. Though they had a happy marriage, their hearts were heavy with sorrow as they had no children. They longed for a child to bring joy to their lives, continue their family name, and honor their ancestors. In their desperation, Prince Toyonari and Princess Murasaki decided to make a pilgrimage to the temple of Hase no Kwannon, the goddess of mercy. They believed that Kwannon, who answers prayers in the form most needed, would bless them with a child. For many days, they offered incense and prayers at the temple, pleading for their greatest wish to be fulfilled. Finally, their prayers were answered, and a daughter was born to them. They named her Hasay-Hemay, or the Princess of Hasay, in honor of the temple where their prayers had been answered. Hasay-Hemay was a beautiful and intelligent child, and her parents cherished her deeply. However, when she was just 5 years old, her mother fell gravely ill. Despite the efforts of many doctors, Princess Murasaki's condition worsened. Knowing that her time was short, she called Hasay-Hemay to her side. Gently stroking her daughter's head, she imparted her final words of wisdom. "Hasay-Hemay, my beloved child, I cannot stay with you much longer. After I am gone, you must strive to be a good girl. Do not cause trouble for your nurse or anyone in the family. If your father remarries, you must accept his new wife as your mother and be obedient and respectful to both of them. Always be kind to those who are under you and respectful to those above you. Remember these words, and I die with the hope that you will grow up to be a model woman." Hasay-Hemay, though too young to fully understand the gravity of her mother's words, listened with respect and promised to follow her guidance. Princess Murasaki passed away shortly after, leaving Hasay-Hemay to navigate life without her. Not long after Princess Murasaki's death, Prince Toyonari remarried. His new wife, Princess Terute, was of noble birth, but lacked the kindness and wisdom of her predecessor. Terute harbored a cruel heart and resented her stepdaughter, constantly reminding herself, "This is not my child." Despite Terute's unkindness, Hasay-Hemay remained patient and obedient, just as her mother had taught her. She treated her stepmother with respect, never giving her cause for complaint. Hasay-Hemay was diligent in her studies, particularly excelling in music and poetry. By the age of 12, she had become a skilled musician, playing the koto, a traditional Japanese harp, with great proficiency. Her talent caught the attention of the emperor, who invited her and her stepmother to perform at the palace during the Festival of Cherry Flowers. Hasay-Hemay played the koto beautifully, impressing everyone, including the emperor, who rewarded her with many gifts. However, Princess Terute, who had neglected her own musical practice, failed in her performance. Her failure, coupled with the emperor's admiration for Hasay-Hemay, fueled Terute's jealousy and hatred for her stepdaughter. Terute's envy deepened when she gave birth to a son. In her twisted mind, she believed that Hasay-Himay's presence diminished her own son's chances of gaining his father's full affection. Her wicked thoughts soon turned into a deadly plan. On the day of the boys' festival, Terute secretly ordered poison and mixed it into a bottle of sweet wine. She prepared 2 bottles, one with poison and one with regular wine, and presented them to Hasay-Hemay and her son as a reward for their good behavior. However, in her nervousness, she accidentally handed the poisoned wine to her own child. As Terute watched Hasay-Hemay anxiously, expecting her to fall ill, she was horrified to see her own son collapse in pain. Despite the doctor's efforts, the boy died within the hour, leaving Terute devastated by her own treachery. Instead of accepting responsibility for her actions, she blamed Hasay-Hemay even more, her heart consumed by bitterness. At 13, Hasay-Himay's poetic talents became known throughout the court. Her abilities were so impressive that when the emperor fell ill due to the roaring floods of the Tatsuta River, the court suggested that Hasay-Himay's poetry might calm the waters and restore the emperor's health. Fearful yet determined, Hasay-Hemay composed a poem, and, accompanied by her father and court officials, went to the river bank to offer her verse and prayer. Miraculously, the waters calmed, and the emperor's health improved. In gratitude, the emperor honored Hasay-Hemay with the rank of lieutenant general, a title she held with great dignity. Despite Hasay-Himay's success, Terute's hatred only grew. In a final act of cruelty, she ordered an old servant to take Hasay-Hemay to the Hibari Mountains and kill her, falsely claiming that it was necessary to prevent disgrace upon the family. The servant, however, recognized Hasay-Himay's innocence and chose to protect her instead. He built a small cottage in the mountains where Hasay-Himay lived safely, waiting for her father's return. When Prince Toyonari came home and learned of his daughter's disappearance, he was devastated. He searched tirelessly until one day, during a hunting trip in the Hibari Mountains, he stumbled upon a small cottage. There, to his amazement, he found Hasay-Himay reading the Buddhist scriptures. Overwhelmed with relief and joy, he reunited with his daughter and learned the truth of her stepmother's wickedness. Upon returning home, the stepmother, realizing that her evil deeds had been exposed, fled in disgrace. Prince Toyonari rewarded the faithful servant who had saved his daughter, and Hasay-Himay was finally free from her stepmother's cruelty. She lived a peaceful and happy life, eventually marrying a nobleman's son, who became her father's heir. Hasay-Himay was remembered as a wise, devout, and beautiful woman who brought honor to her family. Her legacy lived on, and a piece of her needlework, depicting Buddha, is still preserved in a Buddhist temple in Kyoto. Moral of the story: the story of Princess Hasay-Himay teaches us that patience, kindness, and resilience in the face of adversity can lead to triumph. Hasay-Himay's unwavering obedience to her mother's teachings and her ability to endure cruelty without losing her virtue ultimately led to her happiness and the downfall of those who sought to harm her. The tale also serves as a reminder that evil deeds, born out of jealousy and hatred, will eventually bring suffering to the perpetrator.